What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you my Marsh Cup tournament recap. I was actually able to sweep this tournament 6-0. It was 6 rounds, and this was a tournament that I held for all of my patrons, so thank you everyone for supporting the channel. And I know a lot of people have been asking, do I still do Sylph? I do still do Sylph, but I'm taking it a little bit more casually, meaning that I'm kind of only doing one tournament a month. And the reason for that being is I just really miss the in-person tournaments. I'm getting a little sick of having to do all these remote tournaments, so taking it a little bit more casual until we are able to have those in-person tournaments again. But nonetheless, let's get into these tournament battles. Even if you're out there watching and you don't participate in Sylph tournaments, there's a lot of helpful insight I feel that you can learn from a lot of these matchups and how I read teams, how I build a team of 6, and all that stuff. So let's get into these battles. So you can see my team up on the screen there. I actually utilized a double water strategy in this tournament a lot. My 2 water types being Swampert and Lapras. Obviously, when I have like a double water strat like this, I need some sort of hard punish to grass types in the lead. And so with my team, I have some flexibility there with what anti-grass types I want to use. With Wormadam, Venusaur is a pretty good anti-grass as well because it beats the other grass types. Alolan Marowak and Alolan Muk. So kind of 4 Pokemon there that keep a lot of those grass types in check. And I knew that Alolan Marowak was going to be pretty much on everyone's team, so my team has a lot of play against Alolan Marowak as well. With my Alolan Muk, I often used Alolan Muk as a safe swap if I didn't run the double water line. But we can kind of see some of the lines of 3 that I run in this tournament. So I have my Marowak, it takes down the Ferrothorn, which is good for me. My opponent has a Whiscash, and so I know that my Swampert can beat the Whiscash. I just need to be careful of the Blizzard, and obviously if I can sneak an extra Mud Shot through like I do right there, that puts me in a more favorable position. Mud Mobs don't do nearly as much as Hydro Cannons do, and we get to that charge move at the same time there. I'm able to sneak another Mud Shot through, which is really good for me. Gonna shield this up. I really need to take out this Whiscash here because my Alolan Marowak is not going to appreciate that matchup with Whiscash. So there goes the final shield, and I'm able to get to this Earthquake. So my Swampert was running Earthquake in this Marsh Cup. Is really nice for the Alolan Muks. Really nice, like stronger damage against Wormadam Trash. And better against the Lapras matchup as well. Able to land this Bone Club on the opposing Marowak and take that first game there. So now I'm going to go with Venusaur in the lead. My opponent is running a Galvantula, which does make me a little bit worried about like running Lapras, but I have a fantastic lead here. Out comes Ferrothorn, and I have an extremely hard punish to this. So we're going to see if this Ferrothorn is running Thunder or not. But I do want to come out of this with as much energy as possible. So they are running Thunder. But I really want to fully commit to the farm, but I was worried about getting hit by that Thunder. So I will throw a Bone Club here. It's actually not enough to take out the Ferrothorn, which is unfortunate. But this does leave me... they hit me with a Power Whip, so I know I'm going to get farmed by something. Probably that Whiscash. These Shadow Bones are still going to add up. I did run Shadow Bone on my Alolan Marowak instead of Shadow Ball. I just really prefer the faster damage of Shadow Bone. We get some unfortunate lag there, and so I'm not able to get to that Shadow Bone. I don't know if I would have made it there anyways. I have to respect the Blizzard here. Holy crap, thank goodness I shielded that. Even Mud Bomb would have hit for neutral damage, so I'm over farming here because I knew that they threw Blizzard, so building up as much energy as possible before throwing that Frenzy Plant. They switch into Shift Tree, and I have got to stay in here. I cannot switch in my Swampert on this. Luckily the Sludge Bomb connects because they were out of shields, and then at this point I'll just shield and Vine Whip down and take this second game here. Here's another strategy that I do a lot. If a line of 3 works, I'll just run it again and see what happens. So Venusaur is actually a decently safe lead against my opponent's team here, especially since I know that the Ferrothorn is running Thunder, and I'm even fine playing it out against Galvantula. Even against the Toxicroak, it's fine. Really, the only thing that I really would have to insta-swap out of would be an Alolan Marowak. So I'm staying in this matchup because I have an Alolan Marowak and a Swampert in the back. It is a Bullet Seed Shiftry, so it's not going to be hitting super effective damage on my Alolan Marowak, which is good, but I still need to get rid of this thing. At this point, I think I call the Leaf Blade correctly, yes, and so I'm able to survive that and get to the Sludge Bomb. I'm going to be able to take out the Shiftry pretty comfortably here. With the Shiftry gone, I'm feeling very confident about my Swampert's performance with the back line. Out comes the Ferrothorn, and I'm able to hard punish this with Alolan Marowak. So I was able to get all of the hard counters aligned where I needed to. All because I was able to win out that lead matchup, which was very favorable for me. And I'm going to do the same strat that I did last time, throw this Bone Club before getting hit by another move. But I have so much energy stored, I'm going to be able to land a Shadow Bone on the Alolan Marowak as well. It's going to be really good for me. Not enough to take it out, but it doesn't matter. This game is pretty much over. I have energy stored on the Swampert anyways, and we're going to be able to have a nice 3-game sweep for round 1. Very good games for my opponent. Next opponent is P Tierney. You can see the teams up on the screen there. Also running a very similar team to mine, actually. So I lead with Venusaur. It's a fairly safe lead again. All I really need to do is look out for the Alolan Marowak and the Alolan Muck. Everything else I'm actually totally fine with playing out. So I'm pretty dang slow to this swap in with my Alolan Muck here. Not great. Dark Pulse hits for neutral, whereas Sludge Wave still hits for single resisted because Steel double resists poison, so that's why I'm going for Dark Pulse. They are running Thunder, and I get baited right there, which is not great for me. I'm over farming here. I know I survive a Power Whip at this range. So I'm going to throw the Dark Pulse. I had a very favorable lead, so I would like to maintain that, but I instead let it go. I can't really farm down with anything here. Gonna bring in Venusaur, farm up as much as possible, and then throw the Sludge Bomb here. Again, Sludge is single resisted, whereas Frenzy Plant would be double resisted there. They have an Alolan Marowak in the back, and so, man, if I would have just solidified switch advantage there, it would have been in a much better position, but I was just ridiculously slow to the swap on that secondary matchup, which is really unfortunate for me. My Venusaur has a lot of energy stored still. I'm able to land this Hydro Cannon. I need to take out... Oh, they actually let that go. And I think that was the play that is going to allow me to win this round here, because they have to shield this up. And I'm able... Okay, and they have to throw energy there. Venusaur up a shield. All I gotta do is land 2 Frenzy Plants. So no matter what this is, I shield it up. Even though I get baited, that's okay. Gonna be able to land 2 Frenzy Plants here. Venusaur does win CMP against the Alolan Marowak. I made this game way more complicated than it needed to be. Right when that Ferrothorn came out, I should have swapped, but I'm still able to take that game. But okay, so now here's an example of a double water line, but I'm running Alolan Muck in the lead. I like the play that it has against Alolan Marowak, Ferrothorn, even Galvantula is fine. I catch a good lead here. I do know that they are running Thunder, and my back line absolutely has to avoid this. They switch in there Alolan Muck. I'm able to get my Swampert on it. This is a very favorable matchup. I don't need to shield up the first Dark Pulse. Gonna let it go through, overfarm a little bit here, and then go for the Hydro, see what they want to do, see if they want to regain swap here. They let that go. And then I'm just going to throw the Hydro here. I know I'm going to get farmed by the Ferrothorn, which is very unfortunate. But I have the alignment that I need, and that's the most important thing. If I can get a parting Hydro Cannon off on this Ferrothorn, this is actually really great because it puts it more closely into Dark Pulse range. Still not fully in Dark Pulse range, I don't think. But I had so much energy stored that I just instantly go for the Dark Pulse here. I get a shield, good for me. If it is Galvantula in the back, I'm a little worried, but their line would be extremely weak to Alolan Marowak if that was the case. So I'm expecting some sort of a water type in the back, I think. And it is the Swampert. It makes sense. I'm able to get my Lapras on this. If I can successfully shield up the Earthquake, this makes it a pretty favorable scenario for me, and I'm able to do it. I'm one short of the Skull Bash here, but honestly, Double Surf is the way to go anyways. It's more energy efficient. And at this point, I can survive an Earthquake, and I really want to commit to the Ice Shard farm down. Able to do it. My opponent still has a shield. That's fine by me. I'm just going to go straight Surf here. This is going to do some nice chip damage. They let both of that go through, but I was able to run out the switch clock enough that I can switch into my Muck here. And then I have a Dark Pulse stored, so I throw that immediately. I am dangerously close to being in Thunder range here, which is very scary. The Ice Shard is going to hit for neutral on the Ferrothorn. It is Thunder, and it's enough to take me out. Oh my gosh. But I'm able to barely Ice Shard it down and live with 1 HP. Very close game. I'm going to run this same line, it looks like. Alolan Muck in the lead, and typically when I run the double water, Lapras is my safe swap. I catch the Ferrothorn in the lead again. This is great for me. This time, they brought a Galvantula. I'm able to get an extra Mud Shot in there, which is nice. I'm going to shield up this first lunge. I really do not want my Lapras to be aligned with that Ferrothorn. So even if I have to go down in shields here, I really need to try to maintain alignment here. Have to shield up this lunge. But since the Galvantula had an energy lead, I'm a little bit scared here. I have back-to-back Hydros. Gonna throw it right there. And they do shield, so not great for me. I think I barely survived this lunge. And I should... Oh, I'm barely able to get to this Hydro Cannon. Because I got so many extra Mud Shots through in this matchup, I was actually able to maintain alignment. And that is so important here. I know I'm going to get farmed with the Ferrothorn. That's fine. I have my Alolan Muck. Is it Swampert in the back again? Otherwise, this line is very weak to Alolan Marowak. It's got to be some sort of a water type in the back. We will see. They're still staying in. Gonna throw this Dark Pulse. And then gonna throw this Dark Pulse again. At this point, my Alolan Muck has totally done its job. So I can just let this go. If it's Thunder, it takes me out and I get some farm with Lapras. But I survive Power Whip. It's actually their own Alolan Muck in the back. So that line of 3 that they ran, was pretty weak to an Alolan Marowak lead, but they made a pretty bold call that I wouldn't lead it, and they were correct. At this point, Double Surf is the play here. And that should be just enough to take out this Alolan Muck there. And a pretty clean sweep in round 2 as well. Good games to my opponent. Round 3 is up against Thanks Obama. And they're running a Dugong. So my Lapras has a decent amount of play against their team. Here's one example, again, of me using double water. But I'm going to lead my Wormadam here. Now, whenever you're running this double water and you suspect that there might be a grass type in the back, you need to be aggressive with your swap and potentially try to bait it out. My opponent only has one grass type, being Venusaur, but they also have Galvantula that can keep my Lapras in check. They bring out Alolan Marowak onto my Lapras, and since my Lapras has an energy advantage, I know that I can easily maintain alignment here. If this is okay, they are running Shadow Ball, and that was not super great for me. I still survived this Bone Club with minimal health, and I under tap to get that Surf off. So we'll see if my opponent wants to go down 2 shields. Nope, I'm up in shields and I have the alignment that I want. This is really great for me. The confusions with Wormadam were able to chunk down that Swampert a little bit as well. This is great alignment for me as well. However, this energy on Swampert is also going to be useful against the opposing Swampert. So I do potentially want to leave this with as much energy as possible. Because they have 1 shield left, I am reading that they are unlikely to shield this. And so I'm able to land the Earthquake nuke. I insta-swap into my Wormadam to catch this move here. Really good for me. I survive the Hydro. I'm able to get off this Bug Buzz. This is going to hit for so much damage. The Swampert pretty much has to shield this. And I have a little bit of residual energy on my own Swampert. And I'm out of range of being taken out by an Earthquake anyways. Or by a Hydro anyway. So I'm going to shield this up. And then I'm able to sneak in a Mud Shot. You can't stack Hydro Cannon and Earthquake back to back, so I knew that was just going to be a Hydro. I'm able to get this Hydro Cannon off and then take out the Swampert. My opponent did not have a hard punish to my Lapras safe swap. Here's a more balanced line that I'm running. So Venusaur lead and then two things in the back that can handle that Marowak. I catch a huge lead here with the Swampert. They switch in their Dugong. Okay, Dugong safe swap. A couple of my opponents ran a Dugong safe swap. It was actually very hard for me to deal with. Because this is still like, this is a decent matchup for Dugong here because these Ice Shards are doing so much damage. So what I potentially want to do here is, okay, I'm actually going to throw this Frenzy Plant. I could have also stored this energy and swapped into my Lapras. I think I switch in a Alolan Muck right here. So this way Alolan Muck gets to avoid the Swampert. That makes sense. But even Sludge Wave, since I've been debuffed, I don't think is going to be enough to take out this Dugong. We'll have to see. I did farm up as much energy as I could. It's not enough to take it out. At this point, I let the Icy Wind go, and they bring in their Swampert. So their Swampert is now switch locked, which means that my Venusaur can just get on this thing again. Pretty favorable for me. I knew this was going to be a Hydro Cannon, but I got to get rid of this Swampert, so I can't really overfarm. I'm going to throw this Frenzy Plant immediately. If the Dugong comes out, it's so low that I think I can Vine Whip it down, so I'm most likely going to see what they have in the back. It is a Alolan Marowak. I insta-swap so I don't get farmed, and I'm trying to sneak in an extra Ice Shard here, or at least throw on CMP to avoid them sneaking in an extra Fire Spin. Oh, amazing catch by my opponent. Amazing catch. That's very rough for me. And they sneak in an extra Fire Spin there. Yeah, very rough for me. That was the play that won them the game. Huge play right there. Because unfortunately, my Venusaur does not have enough health to Vine Whip this down. They even had enough energy for the Shadow Ball. Really bad for me. I'm not able to get to Frenzy Plant. Amazing play by my opponent. They totally guessed on when I would throw, and they guessed correctly. That was a big read. I'm going to run this line of 3 again because I should not have lost that game based on my team comp. So we're going to give this another shot. Terrible lead, but I'm going to use Alolan Muck as a safe swap here. They're a little slow to this swap on Galvantula, so I know that I can potentially regain switch here. I do get debuffed from the lunge, which is not great. I get the shield right there. I'm going to throw this Dark Pulse, but pretty bad timing on my part because they got in a free Volt Switch there. Not great for me. I did just get a free Snarl in there, which is nice. I'm going to let this go and then farm with Venusaur. Going to farm with Venusaur. I know I'm going to get hit by lunge, just going to drop my attack, and now I'm actually going to aggressively switch in Lapras to farm this down as well. I don't even get hit by a Volt Switch. They bring out Swampert. I have a 1 Ice Shard advantage, so this is pretty good for me. My Lapras is going to have to do double duty here, though. Luckily, I do have a Frenzy Plant stored on Venusaur, so if I can get their Alolan Marowak low enough, then that Frenzy Plant will take out the Marowak, and I do win CMP against the Marowak. At this point, I'm fully committed to the farm. I know I'm going to get Earthquaked here. Oh, they're actually running Sludge Wave, and that's really huge, because if it was Earthquake, it would have been very bad for me. I have 90 energy right now, so 2 Surfs plus 1 Ice Shard. Gonna throw the first one, gonna throw the second one, no Fire Spin gets through, that's really big. And if they get too greedy here, they're just about in Frenzy Plant range, so I don't want them to farm anymore. I switch in my Venusaur, Frenzy Plant goes through, and it actually is just enough to take them out, and then I'm able to Vine with the Swampert. Very close games, good game to my opponent. Round 4, Wormadam into Swampert. This is not like the best matchup for Wormadam, but I can tank these moves fairly easily. I'm running my double water line again. My opponent switches in Lapras. So I'm resisting the Ice Shards. That Bug Buzz does so much damage. I really want this Lapras to dump some energy before I feel comfortable getting, or before I feel comfortable switching. So now I'm going to switch to my Lapras, and I'm going to leave this matchup with so much energy. I knew that this was just a Surf, so I can continue to overfarm. Continuing to overfarm, I know this is just another Surf. I don't need to shield this. I can leave this with as much energy as possible. So whatever comes in, this energy is going to be really, really useful. Surf takes it out. Do they have Venusaur or Galvantula in the back? No, they bring out Swampert into this. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, they must have an Alolan Marowak in the back. And it's very important that my Swampert is going to be able to see that. So I actually even shield up this Earthquake. I want my Lapras to just continue doing work here. These Surfs are really going to chip away, and I had so much energy stored. Down goes the last shield. At this point, I'm going to double shield. And it's another Earthquake. I can overfarm just a little bit more. This Surf, I think, is barely not enough to KO, and then I Ice Shard down. Nope, it is just enough. It is the Alolan Marowak in the back. I predicted it correctly. I insta-swap, and I go straight for the Earthquake here. This should one-shot the Alolan Marowak pretty cleanly there. And I'm able to take that first round. All right, going to use my more balanced team here. Swampert lead this time. And it's the mirror match. So I have to win this, because my backline is incredibly weak to Swampert. I was able to sneak in an extra Mud Shot through there. My opponent does not get an extra Mud Shot. I am one Mud Shot ahead, which is very important. I do want to maintain this energy situation. I'm going to double shield. I really want to ensure that my backline does not see this Swampert. Looks like I lost the CMP tie there, so it's good to realize that. My opponent brings in a Galvantula. I store a Hydro before leaving, and that's just because I know I can comfortably tank these moves. They also go for Lunge. That might have been a misclick because shields are down here. They actually go for another Lunge here. So Discharge is definitely the way to go here because Lunge is double resisted. They do drop my attack, but this actually gives me more farm off of the Galvantula, which is amazing for me. If Swampert comes back in, I'm able to get to this Shadow Bone because I knew that they didn't have a move stored yet. They cannot Mud Shot me down. I'm going to get to see what's in the back. It's their own Alolan Marowak. I'm in a very comfortable position here. I have two Pokemon that beat Alolan Marowak, so there's no point in me staying in there and getting farmed, which is why I aggressively switched out of there. Shadow Ball's totally fine. Shadow Ball's resisted, so Bone Club is the way to go there. This Dark Pulse gets the last shield. I have a Hydro Cannon stored on Swampert still, so this is a very favorable scenario for me. There's the Bone Club. It does take me out, and then I can just bring in the Swampert, land this Hydro, and this should be enough to take out the Marowak there. Good game. All right, gonna try a Venusaur lead here, and then two things in the back that beat the Alolan Marowak. This is terrible. I was not expecting this thing to come out. It's also a Bug Bite Wormadam, which I did not realize that fast enough. So this is pretty bad for me. My Alolan Muck is stuck against Swampert, but Alolan Muck with an energy advantage can potentially flip this matchup back, depending on how your opponent wants to shield here. So I'm gonna throw this Dark Pulse. I do get a shield there, which is nice. At this point, I'm recognizing that I can't really win back switch. They also Earthquake me there, so that absolutely takes me out. I have to bring in Venusaur here, but Wormadam is such a solid response to my Venusaur. I insta-swap into my Swampert. It's their Lapras in the back. Not really good for me. I'm able to get an extra Mud Shot through. That's great. These Surfs are going to do a lot of damage, so I'm going to shield this up. Going to go straight for the Earthquake here. And it lands, which is huge, because now all I have to do is go for Hydro Cannons against this Swampert. Or Hydro Cannons against the Lapras here. I do get the final shield. I should survive this Surf, but my Swampert's going to be too low in health to be able to have much play against that Wormadam. I farmed up as much as I possibly could. But it is Bug Bite, and I'm very slow to realize that. I thought it was confusion, so I could throw like one mud shot and then swap out, but that was not the case. And these frenzy planes are doing absolutely nothing. So my opponent is going to be able to take this third game there. Very good game. Oh my gosh, bug buzzed this so much. Good game. Going into round 5, my opponent has a very unique team. They're running double grass. One of them is Shift Tree. They also have a Toxicroak and a Driftblim. And again, with the Dugong. The Dugong is kind of tricky, especially if they use it as a safe swap. So I'm running kind of a weird line. I lead Alolan Muck. It's pretty rare that people lead Alolan Muck, but looking at their team, all Alolan Muck needs to look out for is Toxicroak. So it's a pretty safe lead, and people typically expect the Alolan Muck safe swap. I'm able to get, I actually bring in my Alolan Marowak here. It's met by the Shift Tree, and my attack is dropped, which is really not that great. I do want more Fire Spin damage here, so I'll shield up this Foul Play, and then throw this Bone Club. I was really hoping this was a Leaf Blade, but it was not. It was a Foul Play. Very bad for me. Essentially a wasted shield, but that Fire Spin damage was still nice. Oh, yeah. I have to bring in a Alolan Muck here. I get an extra Snarl through. That's great. A Alolan Muck with energy is very powerful. I switch into my Wormadam to catch this move. It is the Leaf Blade, double resisted, so wasted energy on their part. They bring out the Dugong again, so it looks like no Alolan Marowak here. They're going to debuff me with Icy Wind. That's not great. I'm going to go straight for the Bug Buzz here. It's a very strong hitting move here. I get the last shield, so I'm wondering what could be in the back. And at this point, I should have realized sooner. It's a Toxicroak. It's a Toxicroak in the back. Why would they shield that like that? And so I'm able to get to this Bug Buzz, but I think from these attack debuffs, it's not going to be enough. That's really rough. It is the Toxicroak in the back, but I have like so much energy stored on Alolan Muck. I'm going to be able to Sludge Wave and then Dark Pulse, and this should be just enough to take out this Toxicroak. And I'm able to still take this round because of all that energy I stored on my Muck. So going to go Wormadam lead here, and then two things in the back that can somewhat handle the Alolan Marowak if they do lead it. They lead the Toxicroak, so I make a big call there, and in the back is Dugong. I don't have a hard punish to this Dugong safe swap. My opponent is also doing a really good job at over farming here. I can't like switch out of this until they've thrown energy. So they're so heavily over farmed. I actually bring in a Alolan Muck here, so it can avoid the Toxicroak, but debatably this is a mistake. I should have just brought in the Alolan Marowak, honestly, because Toxicroak is going to come in and get a pretty hefty farm. Yeah, not great. Not great. It's going to get a very hefty farm. This Sludge Wave, since my attack has been debuffed, is really not as threatening. Yeah, not great. Oh my gosh, Toxicroak is so loaded here. I think I do bring in the Wormadam here, because I can... Oh, I bring in the Marowak. Okay. And I let that Mud Bomb go through. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking in this moment. Go for an aggressive farm with my own... That was a... Yeah. This was a terribly played game on my part. This was terrible. I have to take out this Marowak here, and my opponent knows that I have that Wormadam, so they were saving both shields for their Marowak here. I should have just brought in my Marowak on the Dugong. Water Pulse is not that threatening, and then I would have had a Alolan Muck for this. But instead, I don't know what I was thinking here. Maybe I was distracted while I was doing this game, but this was definitely not the right plays at all, even though I hard called the lead. I lost this matchup because I just played like an idiot. And so at this point, I'm recognizing that my opponent is like enjoying using this Dugong safe swap strat. So I need to kind of figure out how I'm going to handle this. I'm going to lead Marowak into the Toxicroak. This is okay for me. They safe swap the Dugong. And luckily they just go straight for Icy Wind here, and they don't over farm. So I'm just going to switch into Venusaur right now, preserve all that health. They are able to get to this Icy Wind barely before I get to the Frenzy Plant. Not great. Now I'm going to farm up as much as possible here. Going to throw right there. Even with debuffed attack, Frenzy Plant is still going to do some decent chip damage to Toxicroak. I know it's going to come back in, but my Alolan Muck gets to avoid the Toxicroak. So this is looking pretty good for me. Oh man, it's a Driftblim. My attack has been dropped. These Frenzy Plants are not going to chunk as much as I would have liked them to. This is really not that great for me. Driftblim with loaded energy is going to be a monster, but at least I'm able to get my Alolan Muck onto the Driftblim and my Alolan Marowak onto the Toxicroak. So I have the alignment that I need, but this Driftblim is so loaded. They go for Shadow Ball right away. They probably thought that I was bringing in the Alolan Marowak, so that was a mistake. At this point, I figured that they were going to try to catch on their Toxicroak, so I held all that energy. I'm just going straight Shadow Bone here because of my big energy advantage here, and they don't shield the first one. If I would have failed a bait there, it would have felt pretty bad. So I will shield this up and fully commit to the farm. And I'm just going to go straight Shadow Bone again, because if they think that I'm baiting and it fails, I'm providing them with lose scenarios for myself. And I'm able to get to this Shadow Bone. If this is an Icy Wind, I barely survive it. It's a Shadow Ball. Very nice play, but I had this Dark Pulse stored, and I'm able to take out this Driftblim and take that game. Very good games there. All right, final round is up against Sheldon here. Running a very interesting team. Oh my gosh. First person I think I encountered with a Sableye. I have a pretty decent lead here with Venusaur, but Alolan Muck also has play against this, and honestly Lapras has play against this as well because of that Ice Shard damage, and Shiftry's so glassy. I do correctly shield at the foul play. That's really good for me. I'm actually going to go for a Frenzy Plant bait here and see what happens. It really only saves me like one Vine Whip's worth of energy. I'm actually going to switch into Alolan Muck, and I draw out the Quagsire. Quagsire is pretty slow at getting to its charge moves. And if this is probably a Stone Edge, so I do shield this up, but I can potentially take this thing out unless they want to commit another shield. So shields are down. They still have that Shiftry. I survive this Stone Edge, which is great for me. I know I'm going to get farmed by something, but this Dark Pulse is going to take out Quagsire. It's a Mantine in the back, so I'm looking pretty solid here. I'm going to be able to get my Lapras on this Mantine. They most likely just go straight for Bubble Beam the whole time. And if that's the case, I'm just going... Oh, they actually switch in Shiftry right there, and I catch a Leaf Blade on my Venusaur. Really good for me. And I'm going to be able to... if this is a foul play, I think I barely survive. I barely survive. I'm able to get to this Sludge Bomb. Thank goodness. I'm going to get farmed down by the Mantine, but it doesn't matter. My Lapras with that much health is going to be able to comfortably take this. I got to go straight for the Skull Bash before my attack gets debuffed by that Bubble Beam. And at this point, all I need to do is land the Surf, and I'm going to be able to take that. Venusaur has so many positive matchups against my opponent's team. Against the Mantine, I'm fine. Against Crustle, I'm fine. I do need to figure out whether or not it's a Smackdown or a Fury Cutter Crustle. Against Quagsire, that's a hard counter. Even against Shiftry, it's looking nice. And against Sableye, I feel fine with that as well. I'm going to go Lapras lead here, and then have two things in the back that can handle if they lead Shiftry. Ooh, man, they lead Crustle. Is it Smackdown or Fury Cutter? It's Smackdown. That's bad for me. But I'm going to throw this Surf first. Ooh, I'm over farming a little bit here. Going to throw the Surf and then most likely switch to... I'm going to stay in here, looks like. Yeah, this is not great. I was really hoping that he would throw an X-Scissor there, but he did not. I'm going to Insta-Swap into my Venusaur, throw this Frenzy Plant, and then probably switch into my Alolan Muck. I catch a foul play. That's huge. I'm going to be able to snarl this thing down and leave with maximum stored energy. This is looking very favorable for me. I don't even get hit by another move. That's good for me. Out comes the Crustle again. Gonna throw this Dark Pulse. It does not take it out. Crustle is surprisingly It's got a surprising amount of bulk in the Great League for sure. I shield this. I want to commit to the farm down. Most likely it's a shift tree in the back. There it is. Gonna go straight for the sludge wave. Again, if I fail a bait here, I'm providing a win condition for my opponent. And boom, the sludge wave connects and I'm able to take that game. Going into the final game here. Lapras into Marowak. So this is pretty decent for me. My opponent switches into Shift Tree immediately. So I'm actually just going to go straight for the Skull Bash and try to get the shield. And then going to bring in my Venusaur. I have a Alolan Muck for that Alolan Marowak, so I'm not too worried. I do get hit by a foul play there, which is not ideal. I think I call the Leaf Blade. Yeah, I call the Leaf Blade here. And then I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb and see if my opponent wants to go down 2 shields or not. They let that go. I have the alignment that I need. Out comes the Alolan Marowak. And I'm going to bring out Alolan Muck onto this. Bone Club definitely chips away a little bit. And then, yep, gonna shield up that Bone Club. I want maximum stored energy here. Gonna throw the Dark Pulse. I have like 1 Snarl's worth of energy still. I get the final shield. So I'm gonna let this Bone Club go. I do survive. And I'm barely able to get to this. I actually switch into my Lapras thinking that I was gonna be able to catch a move. At this point, it's worth it to shield. But I do need to get to like double surf here. I'm 1 Ice Shard away still. And then able to get to that surf. And the Alolan Marowak has to dump energy into me. And I have a Dark Pulse loaded anyways. I survive a Bone Club from this range, so they have to Shadow Bone. They do, and it takes me out. But I have the Dark Pulse stored, and I'm able to take out that Alolan Marowak right there. Good game. So that was the end of the tournament. I was able to go 6-0. Big shout out to everyone who participated in the tournament. And I will be looking forward to participating in this month's Silph Cup. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate this kind of content. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.